Hello, this is Mad Movie Mark. This is another Mad Movie Mark movie review. I am going to be reviewing Halloween Kills, and yes, I do understand that this is not a Michael Myers mask. This is a Beetlejuice mask. I am going as Beetlejuice for Halloween, so I decided that I should dress up for the occasion. So sit on back. I'm going to take this mask off because it's very hot, and I don't want to do the whole podcast in this mask. So I am reviewing Halloween Kills. This just came out this month. So it's probably the newest movie I've reviewed on this podcast. I'm not a huge horror movie, slasher movie fan. I have seen such movies as Child's Play. I have seen the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I've seen this Halloween. I've seen Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Resurrection in 2018. I've seen a lot of the older movies, such as The Exorcist. I've seen Hellraiser, stuff like that. I kind of fell out of favor with the horror movie genre once the Blair Witch Project made the shaky cam a big thing. I got tired of seeing every movie involve a shaky cam where everyone dies and the camera's the only thing left. So I kind of stopped watching horror movies after that, and my fiance is a huge horror movie fan, so this is why we are seeing this movie. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis. As always, I'm pretty sure it's the only reason people still watch this genre is because the queen of horror movie is in it. Quick side note, I once met Jamie Lee Curtis about 26 years ago or so at Aladdin on Ice in Southern California. She was there with some kids. I don't know if she has kids. I haven't done a whole lot of research into her, but there were kids there. A lot of people were up there hounding her, so I didn't bother her. I just kind of watched, but I count that as meeting her because I saw her as plain as day right there in front of me. It also stars Judy Greer and Andy Matichak, and it was directed by David Gordon Green. Looking at his directing triumphs on IMDb. I have never seen any movie he directed except for this one, though it does worry me a little that he is directing a Hellraiser TV series and an Exorcist revival movie. He's kind of bringing that series, Exorcist, back. No, I'm not very happy about that because I consider The Exorcist my favorite horror movie of all time. I think it's perfect. The acting is incredible for a horror movie. Good Lord, is that movie well acted. And I just think it's a perfect movie in a lot of different ways. And for someone who is, spoiler, someone who is butchering Halloween, I would say that I would not like him to direct The Exorcist. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled rantathon about Halloween Kills, why I absolutely hated it, why I think it's going in the wrong direction, where I think it's going. I think it's pretty clear where it's going based on a lot of things from the middle and end of the movie. This eventually is where it would have to go if they want to continue the series. But I think they're doing it wrong. They're doing it in an incorrect way. This is, to me, this is the movie after watching it that is really trying to pass down the throne from Jamie Lee Curtis to someone else. And I think that to do it in a movie that's so bad is a terrible misjustice to this series and to what Jamie Lee Curtis has brought to this series and to horror movies. And I think this is just a real slap in the face to her career in the Halloween movies. And I honestly wish that it just would never have been redone. I wish that they would have just let the Halloween movies end where they were, if this is where it's going to be at and what it's going to be. I felt the same way about the Star Wars movies. I didn't enjoy the Star Wars movies. I wished that they could have just left it where it was. I realized that they were trying to make up for the Phantom Menace and all of that, which is fine. The new movies are better than that. But honestly, I feel like with Star Wars, with Halloween, if you're going to revitalize such a popular series, such a movies with such a huge following and a huge fan base, you don't just crank out shit. You need to give them something that they've been waiting for. You need to like actually deliver. And the director and writers of this movie don't do that in any way. So this movie starts where it left off, which I'm very happy about because I could not remember where it left off. 2018 was a very long time ago. It seems like 2020 lasted for like 10 years. In 2019, I had to go through a very painful loss of my mom, so this wasn't on my mind at all. And I'm glad that it I think the movie, maybe they know that, so that's why they're saying, hey, I know it's been a while, but here's where we left off. So Jamie Lee Curtis, her daughter and her granddaughter had just locked Michael Myers into the basement. They burned the house on fire, and this is where we start. Jamie Lee Curtis is very injured with kind of a hole in her stomach and is being rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, going the opposite way as a fire truck. And Jamie Lee Curtis is very distraught when she sees a fire truck going to the house. She's like, no, let it burn. Let Michael Myers die. But obviously they can't hear her because she's in an ambulance and they're in a truck. So they go to fight this fire, and Michael Myers ends up slaughtering every firefighter there. I felt that this was in very poor taste. I am a Southern California native. I currently live in Northern California. We have very bad fire seasons. I consider firefighters to be heroes. I don't use that word a lot. Firefighters are one of the few groups of people who I hold on a pedestal. And to watch them all being slaughtered without any type of recourse or any type of defense kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I think like 4 or 5 people left the theater at this point. They just got up and walked away. And I don't blame them. I think that if this were done in the 1970s, before this was kind of a cash grab type movie, they would have, my opinion would have been, they would have sent the firefighters to the house. We would have known that Michael Myers was in the house, and it would have panned away into something else. And then when we go back to the scene, maybe we see a couple bodies, and we were like, "Oh yeah, Michael Myers like killed all these people." But instead, they choose to show the slaughter of all the firefighters, which I think is in poor taste. I think it would have been better to just let us create something in our mind that maybe is a little, like in my mind, I would have pictured a struggle, a battle, something epic to where the firefighters died with dignity and they died with respect, and they fought for their lives, and I would have been fine with that. I would have gone away saying, well, it's really sad that these firefighters, they died, but at least they put up a fight. But no, there is no fights, and this is going to be something that's going to happen throughout the entire movie. There's going to be slaughter of very important people without any type of fight at all, and without any buildup. You're going to invest yourself in characters, and you're going to really think that these are people that you are going to like. By the end of the movie, they're going to be people who are going to provide a lot to the movie, and they just get slaughtered with no defense, nothing. So anyway, the movie, after we go to the hospital, Jamie Lee Curtis gets patched up. We hear she's going to be fine. Someone of her age who has a very bad wound like that and is going to be A-okay, just kind of shows, I guess, what a badass she is, because people who are 60 and fall and hurt their hip usually never recover from that. So to get a gaping wound in your stomach and to be A-okay and to heal fine and everything's dandy, good on you, Jamie Lee Curtis. Very good job. That's why you are a boss-ass bitch, as they would say in the horror movie genre. So after she's patched up, we are at a bar scene where a couple of the original characters from the original movie are there, and they're doing kind of a karaoke night. We're introduced to 2 new characters, a husband and wife duo who is a nurse and a doctor. They are a nice comic pair, very funny. They provide a lot to the movie, and we are given a speech by a character named Timothy, who apparently was in the first movie, who fell at some point, and Michael Myers like stared him down and walked away and let him live. And then another character, Lionel, who I don't remember what he was or who he was, but he was somehow in the first movie, um, which is which is kind of odd to me. So I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent here. So these are two characters who I would consider very minor characters. I don't remember them, but I've only seen the first couple movies a couple times. My opinion would be that if you're going to bring back a couple minor characters, it's going to be because you found the original actors. They want to come back and reprise their role. We're looking at a lot of nostalgia here. It's a nostalgia movie because it's such an old genre. You're trying to bring back the people who used to watch this movie. So you bring back original cast members, especially if you have very small roles, right? So they have two very small world characters who are not original. They're original cast members. They are not. They found two new people to play two minor characters, which is just very weird to me. I know Anthony Michael Hall. I've seen him in stuff before. He is not Timothy from the original movie. It's very odd to me. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird to me that they would do that. So he gets up and he gives a speech about how what happened in the town so long ago, who the people are. These are people who survived a long time ago, and that we are going to kill Michael Myers if we see him this year. The town's going to rise up. So apparently, this big butcher happens every year. Happened 40 years ago in the same town, and there are people who still don't know who these survivors are. Sure, I would think it would be major news. I would think that if something like that happened in my town every year, I would walk up to one of these people in the store and recognize who they are. But apparently, that's not the case. So shortly after we are introduced to the nurse and the doctor, they are killed pretty quickly with no real fight at all. They are just, see you later. Kind of a letdown because I thought they were very good characters. Thought they would make it to the end. You know, I'm usually pretty astute at guessing who's going to live and who's going to die, and I really thought these guys would make it. But you know, I guess in a movie, you have to have some sort of surprise where characters that you think would live don't. So that, you know, it's fine. I was just wrong. It happens. Then we're introduced to Big John and Little John, who are a gay couple. And they are also pretty funny, pretty comical. They have a pretty good chemistry together as a couple, and you generally like them as well. They are nice people, and they're just, you know, they're good characters. And they apparently live in the house that Michael Myers grew up in. So obviously, there's going to be some type of showdown here because after a hard day at work, Michael Myers loves to go home and just relax, right? So eventually, Michael Myers gets to this house, and you're like, okay, well, now this is the showdown we've been waiting for, right? This is going to be a battle of epic proportions. Clearly, they probably have some sort of booby traps in this house. There's going to be some sort of craziness that we're not prepared for, and then nope, they are killed pretty quickly as well, pretty violently, pretty hard to watch type of manner. So there you go. And then Lionel, who is one of the kids from the original movie, he is also brutally destroyed off camera with no real struggle either. Then at the end of the movie, this is basically the whole movie. I mean, at the end of the movie, Jamie Lee Curtis is still in the hospital. You have the Timothy, who is now led a rebellion, has the entire town cornered Michael Myers, and they start attacking and they start slashing and knifing and just stabbing Michael Myers, and he's going down, he's down on the ground, and then instead of cutting off his head or, you know, cutting off some limbs, making sure he can't run anywhere anymore, you know, they just kind of leave him there on the ground. He survived multiple stabbings, multiple fires. Pretty much anything we could throw at him. I'm sure he's dead. He's fine, right? No problems. And then we go back to Jamie Lee Curtis, who's giving like this soliloquy. Oh, by the way, Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter also dies without much of a fight either. So you bring back a bunch of characters who you think are going to have this some sort of say into what the end of the movie is, and nope, not at all. And then at the end of the movie, Jamie Lee Curtis is giving this like kind of the speech while the everyone else is being violently murdered in the middle of town because Michael Myers has once again risen because they didn't really all this pent up energy and just frustration and anger that these this town people had towards him. They just decide not to finish him off. So they all die very horrible deaths. And at the end, we are basically just left with Jamie Lee Curtis and her daughter. Um, oh, sorry. I left out a big part of this movie. There's a scene in the movie, if anyone's still watching, there's a scene in the movie where there is an escaped convict who ends up getting away. And he, for some reason, I don't remember why, is mistaken for Michael Myers, though he's probably about 2 feet shorter and 100 and something pounds heavier, is mistaken for Michael Myers. The mob of the town decide that he is Michael Myers because no one really knows what Michael Myers looks like um, without a mask, even though you should be able to know what he looks like, his body type looks like. I don't know. And he ends up committing suicide in what is just a laughably ridiculous scene. I think I was laughing throughout the entire movie, even though it's not supposed to be funny. Um, so now that you've made it this far, where do I think this series is going? Well, Jamie Lee Curtis had no real role in this movie besides being in the hospital, constantly being frantic and injured, and kind of telling her daughters not to pursue Michael Myers. So I think that this is giving the helm over to her granddaughter. Her granddaughter's boyfriend and her granddaughter's mother both died. This means that she has an even bigger vendetta towards Michael Myers, and she has really nothing to lose, especially if Jamie Lee Curtis is going to start taking a smaller role in this series. I might even suggest she dies in the next movie, Halloween Ends, just because she's getting older. They cannot milk the Jamie Lee Curtis cash cow forever. And I think that they are grooming her daughter in the movie, her granddaughter in the movie, to take over. I think this is a terrible idea. I think that this movie suffers the most because Jamie Lee Curtis is not in it as often. She is not a central part of this movie. And the other characters just cannot hold it together. And nor are they there long enough to hold it together. One of the things that this movie suffers from that I also had a problem with the movie, like League of Their Own. I don't know who I'm rooting for in this movie because at first I thought it would be Timothy's character, but he is such a jerk, and he is so not redeemable as a character at all that he is not someone I root for. I was rooting for Big John and Little John, but they are not there long enough for me to have as much of an emotional caring about them as I could have. Same with the nurse and the doctor. At some point, I was rooting for them also, but that ends up being destroyed as well. So who are you rooting for in this movie? I mean, maybe Jamie Lee Curtis's granddaughter, but she's not really central enough to this character to this movie as well. This movie suffers from throwing too many people at you just for the sake of having more bodies at the end to count up, and not giving you a character that is sustained long enough to care about. So at the end of the movie, you're kind of left with, okay, what was the point of that? How am I supposed to feel about this movie? The only thing I really felt was that the entire town is a bunch of idiots, and they probably deserve to all die because they could have killed him at the end of the movie, and they chose not to. So them all dying doesn't bother me at all. They did not go through all the lengths that they could have to kill him, and they were just very sloppy and basically lazy in how they did it. So yeah, and they pretty much murdered an innocent guy just because they were too stupid to realize he does not fit the profile of Michael Myers. So this movie is bad. It got a 39% of Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's probably a little too high. I mean, out of 10, I give this movie a 3, and it only got that high because it has Jamie Lee Curtis in it, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis in any form, however they use her in a Halloween movie, deserves at least something. And that is also because I honestly believe after the next movie that she will not be a part of the Halloween series. I hope I'm wrong about that, but I really honestly see no reason to keep her injured through the whole movie and not really involve her in any of the exciting parts. It's just trying to ease you out of rooting for her and kind of ease you into the idea of someone else taking over. But they don't do a good enough job of that because if they wanted to do that, then literally her granddaughter should have been in every single scene. She should have somehow ended up in the scene with Little John and Big John. She should have known what was going to happen, known what was going on, and she should have been there. She should have been in the scene. I don't remember if she was in the scene with the nurse and the doctor, but she should have been there too. There's also a scene where just an innocent husband and wife, older couple, are brutally butchered by Michael Myers, and he forces the wife who's dying to watch her husband die. She should have shown up at that point. She should just be in every scene that involves some type of murder. I think she should have been involved in it somehow. So that way that you constantly remember that she is a part of this series and she's going to be a part of the series going forward. I just think the way they used her role was completely throwaway, and they could have done it much better. And this movie fails on everything that it tried to do, and it's just a terrible movie. Please, if you've watched this entire video and you disagree with me, I would be really happy to know what I missed. Like I said, I'm not a slasher movie fan. I don't like the genre, but I'm trying to give this a fair criticism. Even in a lot of slasher movies I've seen, there's at least one or two people who you see throughout the entire movie all the time who end up living at the end, and you care about that person, you care about them surviving, you care about their character, but I just didn't see that here, and it loses a lot of the human factor to me. This movie is very devoid of any human type of interaction, empathy, anything. It's just mindless slash kill. I hope the audience doesn't want to care about any of these characters. And I think it's sad. I think they could have gone a lot of different ways with this. They have a lot of interesting characters that they could have developed here, that they could have done something with, and they just dropped the ball. So that is all for this review. It's been a while since I've done these, so I apologize if I was a little long in the tooth and if this isn't a very entertaining video. But basically, I'm doing this for my own archive, like I've said before, so I can go back and remember what my opinions of movies are. If I had done this in 2018, I might remember a little bit more about the 2018 Halloween movie. But if I remember enough about that movie, at least Jamie Lee Curtis was involved, and there was someone to root for there. But there you go. That's it. Let me know what you think, and I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. Thank you.